Hi everybody, I'm Corinne Blackstone and welcome to my craft room. Before we get started, be sure to check out my Instagram listed down below. I post lots of fun videos and tutorials there, so you don't want to miss out. Now in today's video, I'm going to be testing out the HTVRont AUTOPRESS. This press was sent to me by HTVRont, but I hope you guys know that I always give you the 100% honest review on the way that I feel about all the different things that are sent to me. I will never give you a fake review and tell you that I love something if I don't. So without further ado, we are going to make a shirt using HTVRont HTV, plus we're then going to do one with some StarCraft soft flex, and then we'll also do a sublimation shirt so that we can kind of see a few of the options with this press. So let's get started.
Whatever we would do, we do it just for fun.
Let me introduce you to the HTVRont AUTOPRESS. So what's really cool about this machine is that you don't have to put any pressure on it. You don't even have to pull it down. It does all of the pressing for you with this large plate that's right here. Let me show you what some of the buttons are, and then I'm going to show you guys a few things that we're going to test and press. We have our power button right here. We also have our temperature change button, our timer button. These are the plus and minus buttons to raise and lower the temperature and the time. You also have this button here, which is basically the start button, and I'll show you a little bit more about that one. This one here with the arrows is the modes button. This here is our custom button, and this is the auto button. So I'll show you a little bit more about what those do, but first thing we'll do is get our machine turned on. So you just simply hit the power button, which is this little one right here, and you'll see that it brings up an LED display. You'll also see that your power button is flashing red because it's not up to temperature. Once it gets up to temperature, it does turn green and it does give you a beep to let you know. So the first thing that we'll do is we'll set our temperature. Just hit the temperature button, and then you can use your arrow keys to turn it up or down. Now we're using HTVRont product, so we are going to turn this up to 300, which is about what they recommend. And then you can either just not touch it for 3 seconds or just hit the temperature button to allow it to go back to the main screen. Now we need to change our time because they suggest about 15 seconds. So we'll just hit that up button again, and again you can just hit time to change that. Now there are some other buttons here that we can use. This is the modes button, and it already has some preset modes that you can use. So 320 for 15 seconds, 300 for 15, 330 for 20 seconds, and then 390 for 40 seconds. You don't have to use those settings. You can if you want to, but you can also, again, just set your own custom settings. So you'll see here that you can just easily set your own custom setting. You can just turn that to whatever setting you need to. So really easy, super simple to do. If you don't want to use that setting, you don't have to. Really, honestly, very simple to use. The next button here, this one here is going to be our custom settings, so you can actually change these settings to be what you want them to be. This is like the button you would use to cancel once you do the mode. So this is like how you change it from their custom setting to your own setting. And then this button here is auto. And what that basically does is if you pull out your tray, and I'll do it and show you guys, if I pull out my tray, which this is really cool, it pulls out, and then you push it back in. You're gonna push it all the way in and it'll click, and it'll automatically press for you without you having to hit this go button. I don't want it to do that. I really don't like that it does that. I feel like it doesn't give me a lot of options, so I'm gonna turn that off by just pressing that A button. Now this is cool because the tray does pull out, so it pulls out all the way. This is a 15 by 15 press, and this is actually attached to the press. You can take it off, it's just attached with some little elastic around the edges. You can see one right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my shirt set on here, and I'm just using a Gildan shirt, nothing too fancy, and we're just going to kind of test how this works. This is just well, let me tell you the blend because I don't remember. So this is 90% cotton and 10% polyester. So this would not be a shirt that you could use for sublimation. This would be a shirt that would be best for HTV. So I'm gonna go ahead, and there's a wrinkle under this shirt for some reason. There just must be a little bulge in the shirt. So I'm gonna go ahead and just get that out. You wanna make sure that it's nice and smooth. And then I'm gonna place my HTV down. Now I used the HTV that they sent me, which was some, it's like fluorescent, and I'm gonna trim this down a little bit. I have to say, I was not the biggest fan. The HTV carrier sheet is so sticky. Like my hand, the side of my hand still hurts from it getting stuck to the sheet. It was really hard to see to weed. It was really hard to weed in general. I think partially from it being so sticky. So I don't love their fluorescent, but we are going to give it a try anyways. So this may not end up exactly where it should be because I'm doing this sideways so that you guys can see, but you want to put it straight down about 3 inches from the neckline, about 3 fingers down. And I'm going to come over here just so I can get a better look. Oh, it's pretty good. Doesn't look too bad. I think it'll be okay. And I'm just going to make sure that that's stuck down. Now you'll hear her beep and see how she turned green. That was not what I had it set to because I messed with it. So I'm going to reset it, and we're going to set it up to that 290 that or the 300 that I wanted it at. And then I want to rechange that time because again, we didn't set it after we played with it. So we'll set it to that 15 seconds. We're going to let this heat up. It doesn't take very long to heat up. We'll let it get to that temperature we need it to get to, and then we'll be able to press this, and I'll show you guys how to do that. Now it is almost up to temperature, so once it gets to that temperature, you're going to hear it beep, and you'll see that this R is going to stop flashing and it will turn green. That's to let you know that it's ready to go, which is pretty exciting. So we're going to see how well this works. I'm pretty excited. I haven't pressed anything yet. I always love to give you guys like my very first impressions and first pressings. So you'll see now it does kind of fluctuate in temperature. It does take it a couple seconds to kind of heat up, but it will get to where you need it to be. It's just a little bit, it's a little slower than what I would say like my personal press works at, my StarCraft, but I still think it's pretty good. So now what you want to do is press your drawer in all the way, and I'm going to show you something. I didn't allow the press to click. The drawer is not clicked in. If I hit go, it's going to beep at me and tell me that this, they can't do it. Because when you press your drawer in, and don't do this until you repress it, you need to press your drawer in until you feel it latch. You'll kind of feel a on it, like a little latch, and then you can go ahead and hit the button. It'll go down, and it's going to press this. Now you'll see your timer goes off, and it's going to press it for that 15 seconds. It's putting all the pressure on it itself. You don't need to touch it at all. It will do all of the work for you. Now you can cancel your press at any time just by hitting the R button, and it will bring it back up. So if you realize you made a mistake or you don't want it to press or you've made the time too long, you can do that. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull my drawer back out. And I do find it helpful. You can put your hand up here. This part is completely cool. You can put your hand up here to help you pull the drawer out. Now this is supposedly a cold peel, but I just want to check it because I don't know for sure. Yes. Okay. So HTVRont is a cool peel. Now I will say I do like to just take the bottom of my shirt and I will kind of rub it along my HTV. That pulls out some of the heat from it. And we're going to go ahead and let this cool down. So while that does it, I'm going to turn this off for now, just so that it's not running. Now what's great is this machine does have an auto off feature. So after 10 minutes of in use, so if you haven't pressed any of the buttons, you haven't moved and clicked in your drawer, this will automatically turn off for you, and it will give you an audible beep to allow you to know that it is going to be turning off. So I do love that it has an auto off feature that does make it really safe. Now this part here is warm-ish, but not so hot that I can't touch it. I can feel the warmth, but it would be like more like taking clothes out of the dryer. So it's not super hot. The lower panel is warm again, but not super hot. It's very, very hot where it's black right here along the edge. And then this part is all completely cold. No worries about burning your hands on that. So let me take a few minutes, let this cool down, and then we will peel it and see how well it worked with its first press. All right, we've given this quite a bit of time to cool down. It is cool to the touch. So let's see what we think about how it did. All right, so far, and again, this carrier sheet's so sticky, like do not love. Don't love it on the shirt either, finding it extreme, like this is so sticky. I've never had a carrier sheet that I really have to like yank off of my shirt like this, and I don't love it because look what it's doing. Like it's pulling the vinyl, and it shouldn't be, but like there's nothing I can really do about that because it's so sticky. Yeah, it's really awful. I would not recommend this vinyl at all, but the heat press is kind of fun. Oh, but yeah, no, not a fan of that at all. Like it ripped my vinyl. Ew. Yeah, did not like at all. Was not a fan. So definitely don't love the vinyl, and I don't think it's anything to do with the press as to why the vinyl didn't stick. I think it's just the vinyl. I don't love it. I will try this with something better that I like, but it does say that if it didn't press well, you can repress it for about 10 seconds. I'm not going to bother just because like this looks like absolute trash now because it ripped the letters and it just doesn't look very good. But we will do another shirt here in just a second, and we are going to do some sublimation. So let's get a sublimation shirt and give that one a shot next. I have this super duper cute design. It says turn down for Walt that I got from, I'll link it below because I really don't remember, but I do love it. And I have, this is just a CRICUT shirt. So this is just a CRICUT branded shirt. So this one is from their infusible ink stuff. So it is 100% polyester. Now, one thing I will say that I don't love already, and I wish that I could get it a little bit better, I want to try to get the collar off of the press, but it's really hard because you're like still under this hot part and this doesn't move. So that's kind of bad. And the drawer is all the way out, like it doesn't go out any further. So far that I don't love, but we'll work around it. We will work around that, not a big deal. Now I do need to get some butcher paper because I do need to put butcher paper inside the shirt and on the outside of the shirt as well. But I wanted to kind of see how well it went on to the press. And I gotta say, I don't really, like I said, I don't love that top plate is kind of in the way. I wish the drawer pulled out a little bit further because it is hard to get it so that your neckline isn't under the shirt, which does kind of have, you know, it causes problems when you don't use it correctly because it can give you some pressure issues under your shirt. So that's not my favorite, but we're getting there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put the butcher paper inside my shirt. And the reason you put butcher paper inside of your garment when you are doing sublimation is because the sublimation ink can bleed through your shirt. So you want to just be conscious of that because you don't want the ink to go through your shirt. Now again, you want to make sure it's nice and smooth. And then I have my design. Now this is probably not going to be exactly correct. It's probably going to be a little off center. It's fine. I'm not super concerned about it. I just want to test the press and see what I think about it doing sublimation. Now I don't have it on currently because I really was trying to see if I could get this collar to go under, and I really can't. So I'm going to go ahead and tape this down. We're just using Caesar heat tape. And then I'm going to put another piece of butcher paper right on top of this, and I'm going to turn this on. And this we need to turn up to 400 degrees. So we're going to turn this on, and we're going to go as high as this will go, which should be pretty high. If you long press this, it'll go up by 5 degrees. If you do short presses, it'll go up 1 degree at a time. And then I'm going to hit the temperature, and then I want to hit the time because I need to change that. And you'll see that the time also raises by 5 if you do a long press. And we'll do the time there. And then it's going to go ahead and heat up. While it heats up, I'll get my butcher paper ready, and then we can go ahead and press and see how well it does with sublimation. So now it's ready. We're going to go ahead and push the shirt in, and we will press it. So again, you want to make sure that you get this drawer all the way in, and then go ahead and hit the R. Now you can see that it's pressing and it is giving us the little flashing and counting down. Now the one thing I will say is that you can't really set the pressure on this. It kind of sets it itself. So you have no way to really tell it like medium or firm pressure, which is partially why I wanted to do a sublimation print, because I think that's going to really kind of give us an indication of how well is it pressing. Is it moving a lot when it's pressing? Is it doing any of those things that maybe we don't want it to do? And then I'm going to do another press with some StarCraft Soft Flex to see how it does on that other shirt. Okay, now that it's done, it's gonna go ahead and lift up. I do recommend waiting until it's fully done lifting and then go ahead and pull out your drawer. Now because this is sublimation, we can go ahead and take this off right away. We don't have to wait for it to cool. And let's go ahead and see how it did. I think it actually did a really nice job. I do think that the pressure was a little higher than I would have preferred for sublimation because I can really see the edges of my paper and my butcher paper, which I don't typically get that when I do sublimation prints. Now I'll get this off of the press to show you guys, and I'm gonna go ahead and again turn it off just for now, and I'll pull this off a little bit so you guys can see it. Do you see that? I think it came out really nice. The color is great. But again, I can see the press lines from the paper, which I never get when I press by myself. So I think the pressure is a little bit high for what I would prefer, but typically those press lines do wash out. So I think it did a nice job. It didn't give any ghosting. It's a nice color, and I think it did a pretty decent job. I'm gonna use the same shirt, but this time I'm gonna flip it and we'll do the back really quick. We're gonna put some strips of StarCraft Soft Flex on here, and that I think will give us a better indication of how well it does with HTV. So I need to turn the temperature way down on this one because StarCraft HD is only at 285 for about 8 to 10 seconds. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this way down. I did find that it does take quite a while to cool down. So just keep that in mind if you're doing this. It does take quite a while to cool down. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn the time way down. Again, 8 to 10 seconds for the StarCraft Soft Flex, so we'll go 9 seconds on that, and I'll go ahead and let this cool down, and then I'll put the strips on real quick to show you. So I just cut some strips, nothing like crazy. I didn't want to do like a whole pattern or anything, because this is just a tester shirt, so I just cut some different colored like strips that we can put on here, and I was thinking that what we would do is kind of put them on different sections of the shirt. So I definitely want a couple like up here, because this is where it didn't stick very well from the last one, so we'll do those in kind of a couple directions. And then I want to put some down here because they stuck pretty good down here, and so I just sort of want to try to do like kind of just a random, you know, pattern of them so that we can get an idea on how well they press in the different sections of the shirt, because maybe that top part was just because of the collar, maybe it's the press, I'm not sure, but we're definitely going to try it with a vinyl than an HTV that I'm super familiar with. So give that a couple of minutes to cool down, and then we'll press the StarCraft Soft Flex. Okay, it's ready, so I'm going to go ahead and slide my drawer in, and we'll press it down, and we'll let this press, and we'll see how well it does now. StarCraft Soft Flex is a warm peel, meaning as soon as it's done pressing, we can go ahead and pull it out and peel off the carrier sheet. So let's go ahead and see what we think about the way these stuck versus the way the other stuck. Now these are going to be a little bit harder to peel off because the carrier sheet goes right to the edge of the HTV, but it's okay. It still comes off pretty easy. So far the ones on the bottom are not bad. Let's keep going. I think those ones are fine. They seem like they stuck well. This middle one stuck really well. Now these are going to be like our true test because the seam of the collar, I tried to leave it right where it was on the first one. They're not bad. I don't think they look, they're not great actually. When I peel them, I can see on the edges just a little bit of wrinkling, a little more than I normally see with my regular StarCraft press. I do think this is a decent press. I just think I prefer for myself just a standard press, but I could see where this has its place in the world. So now that we've used the press, I'm going to give you some of my final thoughts. First, let me just tell you that I did not love the fluorescent HTV from HTVRont. Not my favorite. Did not love weeding it. My hand still honestly stings a little from it getting stuck to the carrier sheet. It ripped when I pulled it off. It didn't adhere very well. The color is nice, but I didn't really love it for any of the other reasons. Now, I did use some of their metallic HTV in another project, and it was fine. So I think it might just be the fluorescent that I just don't like. Now, I did do StarCraft Soft Flex in some strips on the back, and that worked really well. So just keep that in mind. I don't necessarily think it's the press. I think it was the HTV. Now, as far as how it pressed, I think it did a pretty decent job. However, I don't love that it's a little difficult to try to get the seam of your collar off of the press. I even tried at one point off camera putting it sideways, and the sleeve still was hard to get under the edge. So I don't love that the drawer doesn't like pull all the way out, but I don't have a CRICUT AutoPress, so I don't know how far their drawer pulls out to compare, but I do wish that it pulled out just a little bit further to make it easier to get the little seam from the collar, especially on the front, over the edge so that you're not trying to press the collar seam as well. Now, I do think it did a great job with our sublimation. Please ignore the fact that this is not straight. I didn't try to put this on super perfectly, but I think that the color came out really well. I think it did a really good job as far as pressing it, but it did press a little bit firmer than I would prefer for doing my sublimations, because it did leave that line around the paper, which I don't typically have when I make my sublimation designs, but I know some people do, and usually the cure for that is just to turn your pressure down a little bit. And with this, that's not really an option. It just does it for you. It kind of senses, I think, where your product is, and then it presses it to a pretty high pressure. So just something to think about, not really necessarily like a gain, like it wouldn't turn me off completely from the press because it does eventually wash off. I just don't love that, and I don't love that I can't adjust my pressure. I think that it did a nice job with the StarCraft Soft Flex. That actually is only pressed at a medium pressure typically, but I think it did okay. It pressed it well. I don't see any like seeping of any adhesive or anything, so I think it was fine. And I do think that for what this is, the AutoPress, it does a great job. I think it's easy to use, and I think that it really does make everything pretty simple. And if you're not somebody who can pull down a traditional press, or you can't hold the CRICUT Easy Press and press down on it, an AutoPress is a fantastic option. Now for me personally, it's not going to be my go-to press. I don't necessarily love that I can't set the pressure. That is something for me that I use a lot, and I adjust depending on my garment, depending on the HTV or the sublimation that I'm using. So not having the ability to change that really does turn me off from an AutoPress like this. But if you are somebody, again, who doesn't necessarily change their pressure, doesn't need to change their pressure, this is a great option. This is also at a much lower price point than the CRICUT press, so be sure to check it out. I will link it down below for you as soon as it's available. This is coming out soon. I don't have an exact date as of filming, but if it is available, it will be linked down in the description. Now, like I said, it's pretty big. It's heavy. So this thing is about 43 pounds according to the shipping label, but it's very big and kind of awkward. I had a hard time moving it myself, and I just found it to be a little bit cumbersome, and I think that it does take up a lot of space. So if you're looking for something that's more of a space-saving product, this is not going to be it. This actually has a larger base print than some of my other presses. Now, my 15 by 15 StarCraft is a little bit longer than this one, but it does take up about the same size width-wise for it. But I also do find that my StarCraft one really doesn't seem to take up a ton of room either, so it's not a big deal. But this is a pretty large footprint, and like I said, it is pretty heavy. I'm pretty strong, and I had a hard time lifting it. I'll go ahead and show you guys. Like, I'll try to lift it. There's some little handles down here, and it is really very heavy. Like I said, it's about 43, 44 pounds according to the shipping label. I'm not exactly sure exact weight because those are not always completely accurate, but just be aware if you need to move this around, this is not a press that I would recommend for you. If you're somebody who wants a press that's more portable, easy for use, this isn't it. I would go with the Easy Press because this one is really heavy, really cumbersome, just a little bit awkward to move. Again, I feel like it was very easy to use. I don't think it was difficult to understand. The directions were not written fantastic. There's definitely some grammar issues. They are a little bit difficult to read in some parts, but once you read through them and kind of start pressing the buttons, it makes a lot more sense. So don't be discouraged if they're a little bit confusing to you at first, because once you read through them and really start kind of playing with all the different buttons to see what they do, it makes a lot more sense. Editing Corinne coming to you because I wanted to make sure that you guys know that at the moment, and they didn't tell me this before I filmed, but they are doing a crowdfunding campaign in order to make this AutoPress. They have some really nice incentives if you invest in that crowdfunding. and that's all listed down below in the link. Now, I can say I've worked with HTVRont a few times. They are a good company. Like, I would trust them, but just be aware that they're crowdfunding for this press. I gave you all my 100% honest reviews and honest thoughts on this press, and like I said, for me, maybe not the press, but I do think it is worth it for the price. If that is something that you're interested in AutoPress, the price cannot be beat. And it is very high quality. Like, it feels really good. It feels really nice. But just be aware that at the moment they are crowdfunding, so it is not available just yet. They're thinking September of 2022. This video is being filmed in July of 2022, so they're just about ready. They're really close, and obviously they do exist because I have one, and there are several other people who have them as well, and they are a good quality press. I like all the safety features. Everything feels very good, very like it's gonna last. The power cord feels really nice. I'm not sure if I touched on that at all. But everything as far as like its manufacturing feels really good, really high quality. I don't think that it's going to be like a cheaply produced product in any way. And I mean, judging by the weight alone, it's very, very nice. I just wanted to pop in and let you guys know that because that was not explained to me when I got my press and when I filmed the video. So I did want to come in and let you know. So everything will be linked down below, but once it is available for general purchase, the crowdfunding link won't be there anymore, and you will have a link directly to purchase the AutoPress, just so you guys are aware. So I just wanted to pop in, let you guys know that, because I don't want you guys to think like, you know, I'm lying to you. They just literally did not tell me until it was too late to add that to my video. So be sure to check out the crowdfunding link if you are interested in getting the press. They are offering, like I said, some good incentives if you want to check it out. I am not affiliated with crowdfunding in any way, shape, or form, and literally the only thing that they did was send me this press. We did not exchange any money for the review. They just sent me the press. So that's, again, just something I want to be 100% transparent with you guys about, just so that you are aware of everything that went on. And just, you know, I really do not take product if they want me to give a good review. I'm going to give an honest review. And if I hate something, I'm going to say I hate it. If I love something, I'm going to say I love it. If it has issues, I'm going to mention those. If it's got great things, I'm going to mention those as well. So hopefully you guys know that I am trying to be really honest with these reviews and information that I'm giving you. So like I said, check those links down below if you want to grab it. No, again, this was 100% honest. They did send this to me. I'm giving you the good, bad, and the ugly of the machine, and the things that I liked and the things that I didn't like. Again, it has its place in the craft world. Is it a place in my craft room? Not something I'm going to pull out all the time, that's for sure. But I do think it is a handy tool to have, and I do think that at its price point, it's a great bargain if you were looking for something that does auto pressing for you. If you have any questions about this machine or anything else, just let me know in those comments down below. If you're looking for an auto press, I will link this in the description as soon as it is available. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and as always, happy crafting.